Yes.
He avenges Custer by killing and scalping Yellow Hair, also called Yellow Hand, which he called the first scalp for Custer.
Jeez. Yeah, big-ass show.
But here's the thing, man. That just happened. All of this just happened. We're talking about 1900. Right?
I know.
118 years ago. It's almost a human lifespan.
Yeah.
It's like this convergence of human beings is so recent.
What killed these more? Probably like movies or in radio.
Yeah.
People are like,
For
fuck.
sure.
Probably.
It looks like a movie production, like when you see
Plus, they
1,000
probably
people.
shot each other a bunch.
I'm sure there was some venereal disease involved.
Oh, yeah. They probably all died of fucking herpes or something.
Yeah.
Didn't they? They had guns. They were actually shooting guns
Yeah, it
off.
said they
right?
had like competitions and shoot-offs. It was like a 3 to 4 hour show.
Well, that's why the
3 to 4
Western
hour
was
show.
such a popular movie for
yeah,
decades because it was so fresh in people's minds. I mean, you had grandparents that,
Right.
knew this stuff.
Right. When you think about like the 1950s Westerns, they're only
Yeah.
100 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Right. That's like us watching something about something that happened during the Depression.
Yeah.
Like Once Upon a Time in
Fresh.
America or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah? Right?
Pew,
Wow.
pew. That is the coolest. But what's so funny about it, it's just show business. It's like the beginning of show business.
Yeah, well, he figured
The
it out.
posters, I mean, all of it. How much of it has really changed? You put on a big show, you make a cool poster, you get these people to come and buy tickets.
2.5 million tickets sold.
Wow.
Wow. You know what's really fucked up, dude? There was no comedy back then. No stand-up.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Mark Twain, when was Mark Twain running around? Because he was kind of like the first stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
He would go do these shows, and he writes about it like it's a stand-up performance. When was he
in what
traipsing
ways?
around?
Well, they do
He was
say
talking
that he was
about-
probably the first.
Yeah, he was talking about things that didn't work for a laugh. And
wow.
yeah,
Hal Holbrook's touring as him.
he's always
Still,
touring
I
as
guess.
him.
I didn't know that was just like a thing.
Well, when did he live? What was the lifespan of Twain?
So that's an interesting case. In Mark Twain,
Yeah.
they use the N-word all the time in Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And they're removing that now.
They're removing it?
Removing it.
Who is?
They're editing it and removing it from the books.
The publishers?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You want to learn about a culture, and learn about a time.
Well, one of the characters in Huckleberry Finn, one of the main characters was Nigger Jim.
Yeah.
That was his name.
That was his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They removed the N-word.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not
Weird.
accurate. Well,
But
that's
it's
well, that's
weird.
well, that's sanitizing history, and that's a
Right.
mistake because you don't learn from that.
Jamie, pull that up. Pulled up the censoring of Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn.
Mark Twain had to
Yeah.
build a little writing room out on his lawn so he could smoke his cigars out there because his wife wouldn't let him smoke cigars. So he built himself a little shed
To
so he could go
smoke.
sit out there and smoke.
Good for him.
I just want to
That's
see when
smart.
his lifespan was. Old Twain, yeah, he was funny. You ever read Twain?
Yes, he's very funny.
Really, like
There's-
cutting.
What does it say here, Jamie?
Replace the word with the word slave.
Whoa. Okay, look at this. A new effort to sanitize Huckleberry Finn comes from Alan Gribben, a professor of English at Auburn University at Montgomery, Alabama, who has produced a new edition of Twain's novel that replaces that word with slave. Appears in the book more than 200 times, was a common racial epithet of, used by Twain as part of his character's vernacular speech and as a reflection of the mid-19th century social attitudes along the Mississippi River. There is a
So an effort, but that doesn't mean that it's been done.
there's a ride at Disneyland. I want to say it's either Splash Mountain or I think
Disney?
it is Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain at Disneyland, which was based on a really racist old cartoon that you can't get anymore called Southern Tales. I think it's called Southern Tales.
It's the Himalayan thing.
No. That's the Matterhorn.
Oh,
This
Splash Mountain.
Splash
with
Mountain-
the Briar.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was very racist.
Briar Bear, Briar Fox.
Yeah,
Briar
Briar
Fox.
Fox.
Briar Fox. Yeah, that whole thing is like it's a southern ride, and like there's all
Right.
these singing ducks, and we went with a guide, and the guy was explaining to us that this is all based on a really racist old thing that you can only get like bootleg copies of now.
Ah, really?
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
this super racist old cartoon.
Well, they had like the Tar Baby
Excuse me,
and
the Tar Baby.
right, the Tar Baby thing.
Well, what is it? It's Southern Tales, right? Is that what it's called?
I'm trying to find the name. I just keep seeing Briar Fox listed a bunch of times. Yeah, Song of the South, telling the
Song
story
of the South. I think
Right.
that's the name of it. I
Right.
think it's called Song of the South. I think that's it. I think that's the name of it.
Right.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But it was apparently super racist.
Yeah, I believe it. There's a lot of bad stuff back then.
What is it? Is this
They
it?
say that
Wonderful feeling.
Is this it?
This way.
It's got
Zippity
4
doo-dah.
million views. Yeah, it is Zippity Doo-dah.
Zippity
Oh, this
doo-dah.
is it. Yeah, this is Zippity Doo-Dah. They sing this in the movie. Zippity Doo-Dah.
Is this
So why
racist?
is this racist?
Well, that's what they're asking. Is this racist? Song of the South.
Well,
clip.
right now it's just a guy singing.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the racist part. I think the reason why you can get this online is because it's not the racist stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because this is just a guy singing Mr. Bluebird on my shoulder.
Zippity
Yeah.
Mau mau.
So Song of the South, the move. See if you can find Song of the South.
This is what I. This is
That's
the
all you
clip,
get?
This was the clip that popped up when I googled it.
Yeah. You know.
81% liked it. It's like, look at Rotten Tomatoes, 7.3 on IMDb. So it's on IMDb?
It came out in 1946.
Wow.
Maybe it wasn't. Mark Twain died in 1910. So that means that he was walking around as an old dude doing these performances, late 1800s.
Yeah.
And so maybe that was the kind of the beginning of stand-up comedy.
Go back to that. Go back to that page you were just on and that Snopes article on it where they do a fact check on the Song of the South. You see it up there?
Yeah, I was gonna
What does it say?
double check it before I wanted to see what they said on the Snopes, but it says it's true.
What does it say
It says
about it?
the song.
Can you pull it up?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought I had it up.
Oh, A Song of the South and NAACP. A Song of the South unavailable on video in America because of the NAACP threats. Status true. Wow.
Yeah.
So is that
I
racist?
wonder what it was.
There was so much racist shit back then. It's
Briar Rabbit,
I'm sorry.
Briar Fox, Briar Bear.
why Brer? What does that mean?
A briar, like stuck in a briar, like a
But
thicket.
BR-ER.
That's the way you gotta
rabbit.
say it. You gotta
Yeah.
say it that
Brer,
twang.
Brer rabbit,
Brer
Brer
rabbit.
fox, it's Brer bear. So that was the idea that they're stuck in briars?
The minstrel tradition of Uncle Remus stories, the major objections to the Song of the South had to do with the live action portions. The film had been criticized both for making slavery appear pleasant and pretending slavery didn't exist, even though the film. That's like kind of you're caught in between. Like
Finish that.
pret-
Finish what you just said.
even though the film, like Harris's original collection of stories, is set after the Civil War and the abolition of slavery, still as folklorist Patricia writes.
That's just a long paragraph.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So
Yeah, that's
it's
kind of
after
interesting, especially when you
slavery.
talk about the Huckleberry Finn part.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, okay, take that out.
Yeah.
And then in this one, they're saying they had an objection to making it seem like slavery didn't exist.
Right.
That's why you can't take it out of Huckleberry Finn, because you need to know that this existed. We need to deal with it and
Yeah.
understand it rather than sanitize
The
it.
problem is defending it. Like you can't it's almost impossible to defend the use of that word. Like if you wanted to defend the use of that word, you say, "Well, we want to put that word back in a book." People are like, "What are you, racist?"
Right. But you can't, this
You're
is
talking rationally though.
this is history. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Can't be rational.
Right.
There's no rationality when it comes to dangerous, forbidden words,
Right.
as you saw from the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's.
Yeah. I wonder what Twain would say.
Do you think that ultimately, like, this is all going to sort itself out? Like, all this political correct craziness and this kind of shit, that this is just a little rough patch of chaos that we get through on our way to establishing a new way of communicating with people, a new way of appreciating each other, and that, all this, even the anti-white racism and anti-male sexism and all this stuff, it's just the wave going this way, and then it'll go that way, and then it'll settle in the middle.
Kind of, yeah.
And then we're learning from even these missteps, like why can't we hate all men, or anything like that. That we learn from these missteps and the outrage that goes to these missteps, and we say, oh, I understand why this woman feels this way. She's probably abused by men and dealt with asshole men and asshole bosses, and see these people like Harvey Weinstein in the mainstream media that have abused and violated and victimized women.
Yeah.
And that it's going to balance itself out. And the only way it does is you have to have outrage and then correction. And
yeah, I mean, that's the way history seems to go. It seems like, you would think in certain ways like, oh, we don't have to work that hard to abolish these evils, but then evil pops up again and it feels like, okay, no, it's still here. We still have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you just hope at the end we all end up like Bruno Mars. We all look like Bruno Mars. And everybody's happy because no one knows what anybody is.
Yeah.
Just having a good time, and we're all a little darker, not totally white, not totally black, and everybody's
But wait
happy.
a minute. But what about white people? I like looking at white people. I like some
of
white
them.
people. I like the fact that we have variety in the way people look. Like some people look like Seal, and some people look like who's like a super white lady.
Like
Tom
Shelley
Cruise's
Duvall.
ex-wife.
Oh yeah,
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
That bitch is white
Jessica
as fuck.
Chastain.
Yeah, white.
So
white
white you're
ladies.
almost red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good to have a nice mix.
Fuck, man. It's
Yeah,
it's
but
everything.
But
It's
it's
fascinating.
we're still these very